Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Silberman from Academic Alliances at Arizona State University. Really excited about the first College Connections webinar of the year. And we could see that a lot of people out there, all of you guys were as well because of the great attendance today. So thanks for joining us. Today, we're happy to have the Pre-Health Advising Office, Ryan Van, and he will introduce the other team members of his who are here. We know a lot of you will advise students of all different health-related majors, and we want to show you how ASU supports those students when they transfer to ASU. And so without further ado, we'll get started and I'll turn it over to Ryan.
All right. Good morning, everybody. How are you today? My name is Ryan Van. I'm the Assistant Director of Academic Services, Pre-Health Advising here at the College of Health Solutions at Arizona State University. Brandon Hardy, he's actually accompanying me in this presentation. He'll be active in the chat answering your questions. He is actually our advising coordinator. He had started out in April, so now we're a team of 2 here downtown. What you see here is also a group of who our pre-health advisors are here at ASU. So we are a team of 7. 6 of us actually advise. 5 of us advise full-time, 1 part-time, and then Mary steps in here from now and then. With our pre-health advising team, we're actually divided amongst 5 campuses. Yes, we do count online as a campus. So Haley McInnes handles online students that are not College of Health Solutions students. Brandon and I, we see students who are College of Health Solutions, College of Nursing, any of the colleges that are downtown, plus College of Health Solutions on every campus. Haley Barong is our West Campus advisor. She sees West Campus students. She also sees a lot of College of Health Solutions students on that West Campus. Typically, we will see those West Campus College of Health Solutions students only if she has some type of overflow with her students out there. And then Kayla and Nikki, they advise for the Tempe campus. So they're our pre-health advisors at Tempe. Now, you'll notice that I did not mention Polytechnic, but that's our other location. That's another location that we advise for. Polytechnic, College of Health Solutions, we handle any students that we advise, any students that are at Polytechnic that are in medical studies, health sciences, or any of our degree programs. If you decide to enroll at Polytechnic, or if you know a student who is currently at Polytechnic, just have them reach out to the general pre-health inbox and we will find their advisor for them if they're not a College of Health Solutions major. And next slide. All right. So what is pre-health advising? Okay. Pre-health advising is a pathway, not a major or a minor. So what we get sometimes, especially with our freshman students, our first term students, maybe not students as seasoned as our community college students transferring in, but what we get from them is, hey, my major is pre-health. No, your major is what's on your My ASU page. So we are a pathway. We serve students and alumni in any major on any campus, including online. So no matter where you are located, you will have a pre-health advisor. Our services, not only do we do in-person appointments, we also do Zoom appointments and we conduct phone appointments as well, especially here on the downtown campus. We want to make sure that you have access to pre-health advising at any time you would wish to see a pre-health advisor. Now, as far as pre-health advising is concerned, I can go back real quick. Yeah. So as far as pre-health advising is concerned, we do not include nursing professions in pre-health advising, but we will advise nursing students that are interested in the health professions such as PA, MD, DO, physical therapy, occupational therapy, so on and so forth. And I will go over those professions that we advise later on. All right, we can go next slide. So the goals of pre-health advising, we want to make sure that we are offering resources and support to any student that comes into our office or has an appointment with us. We want to make sure that we're promoting your personal and professional development, because when you apply for graduate school, they're looking for well-rounded applicants. They don't want someone who's only doing service and not good at grades, or only good at grades and not doing service or volunteering or extracurricular activities. They want to see you as an entire person, because that's who they're admitting into their school. You want to be a good teammate. You want to show them that you actually have experience at a PA clinic or a PT clinic, just so you know some of the things so that you're aware of what you like and what you do not like. But then you're also have communication skills, team building skills, and different things like that. Um, in pre-health advising, we want to make sure that there's a strong relationship between advisors and students. So Brandon and I pride ourselves on not only making that connection with you, but also making sure that you're okay, that mentally you're good. You're able to take on this challenge of going into professional school. So these relationships that we have with you are not only for the 4 years that you're here or the 2 years if you're transferring in, but beyond that. Again, pre-health advising is available until you matriculate into graduate school. So we're here until you reach that goal that you're trying to get to. We also encourage any type of empowerment. We want to make sure that students are empowered. You're making wise decisions for your future, and you're taking all of the correct steps to get into graduate school. Now, the professions that we advise for are as follows. We have medicine, allied health, and then there are other programs. And I want to touch on the other programs after I explain the medicine and allied health programs we advise. So we advise students on these pathways listed here: physician assistant, podiatry, vet med, naturopathic, osteopathic medicine, allopathic, allied health, dental, pharmacy, optometry, physical therapy, occupational therapy. When it comes to other programs, we typically don't see as many pathologist assistants and anesthesiologist assistant and so on and so forth. But what we do get a lot of are students that are interested in post-baccalaureate options. Students who are interested in post-baccalaureate options are typically students who may need more work or may need more seasoning before they apply to graduate school. This may be a student who may have not performed well in their lower division science courses and may need to take a certain amount of graduate school level courses to show the graduate school that they can actually take coursework that's beyond the 400 level. All right. So what does our support looks like? What our support, we help you navigate the application process. That's the best way to sum up our support from the beginning to the end. If you're coming in as a transfer student, we're going to make sure we make up that ground from the first 2 years if you haven't had that type of support prior. If you have had that support prior, but there's holes in that support or there's certain things that you're not aware of, we want to make sure that you are aware of that information. We help you prepare for interviews. We help you, we advocate for your goals. So keep in mind, no two applicants are completely identical. So you're going to have your own path. Your buddy's going to have their own path. Your sister may have her own path, or brother. We want to make sure that we're advocating for you and your path. So when you sit in front of that admissions committee during that interview, you're putting your best foot forward, and it's your foot, not someone else's. What we do not do is we can't evaluate your admissions prospects. So I can't tell you if you're going to get accepted into AT Still or U of A Med. I can't tell you that. All I can tell you is how to become the best applicant. We also do not determine your graduation timeline. That's the job of the undergraduate academic advisor. They're very skilled in that area, and we have connections with that team. They're literally on the other side of my wall here. So if I ever need to ask them a question, I can Slack them or walk over there. But we typically recommend that you book an appointment with them specifically when it comes to your graduation timeline or classes. Another thing we do not do, we can't make your decisions for you. I can give you suggestions. I can tell you what I think, but I can't say this is what you need to do. I can only guide you into your pathway and what you need to accomplish to get into graduate school. And when I say suggestions, when we do application reviews or personal statement reviews, we'll look at that personal statement and we'll make suggestions on how you can improve that personal statement, but we cannot rewrite the document for you, obviously. But instead, again, we guide you through the process and we help you present your best self. All right. Benefits of pre-health advising. Okay. So the benefits of pre-health advising, again, that support throughout the application process. You have someone here. I've reviewed tons of graduate school applications. So that's part of our appointment. That's part of the types of appointments that we offer. We offer general appointments where we just speak about, general advising, how we can point you in the right direction. And we have more of those with our students than any other type of appointment because they're like check-in appointments. And we want to make sure that you're meeting your goals. Or if you're not, we just make a contingency plan. We pivot and we go in an opposite direction to make sure we get you right back on that pathway that you're trying to pursue. We also offer prerequisite support. So I mentioned that we do not offer like class schedules, or we do not discuss your class schedule with you. But what we do here is we do offer prerequisite support. So we discuss how you can select the appropriate prerequisites for the graduate program that you plan on pursuing. And later on, you'll see a chart with that information. Professional opportunities. We discuss leadership roles, professional school fairs, clinical internship opportunities, research, shadowing. There's so many different opportunities that you can go out there and pursue to become a well-rounded applicant. The one thing we do not want you to do is have a checkbox mentality. We want to make sure that you're not just checking boxes. You want to make sure that whatever you do, you either wanted to try it out or it's something you're passionate about, because that passion is going to come out in your personal statement, and it is also going to come out at your interview when you interview, and your secondary application and your primary. One other thing, we want to make sure you're connected with peers. Brandon and I just visited AMSA probably about 3 weeks ago, I believe, and we just chatted with the students. I have a chill and chat next week with students where I'm going to speak with them, that these are students that are interested in going to professional school. But I also, when I speak to these students, I want to make sure they connect with one another as well, because as they are progressing and matriculating through into these programs, they can have like a buddy system or support system. That's something that I missed in college a little bit, not too much, but I want to make sure that, everyone has that. Next page. And one more thing I want to add with the community support, we also have faculty here, and our faculty are heavily involved. Pre-health resources, we have career pathways. So on our pre-health advising webpage, and Brandon placed it into the chat earlier, I saw, but on that page, there are pathways for each career that you plan to pursue. So if you're interested in going to PA school, there's a 4-year plan on that pathway. There's also, and I'll discuss the prepare page a little bit later, there's also a timeline. So to the right here, you'll see that there's a timeline that we have. We have these for each profession. This one's for medical school. So you'll see here, we're giving advice on the MCAT and practice examination, like when to take practice examinations, how to calculate your GPA, which is important. I always say, do not wait to the last minute to calculate your GPA, because you're going to have to input a lot of data. And there's tracking devices out there for that, which I'll touch on a little bit later. Letters of recommendation, that's another thing that I will discuss with you as well. Student resources, we talk about how you can access research. So big questions I get from students, and Brandon probably and other pre-health advisors probably get the same question a lot. How can I get research? Research and letters of rec I see are the top 2 things that students struggle to obtain, or they're afraid to just go and get. And sometimes it's the latter more than the former. Students are just afraid to approach or nervous to approach an instructor about research or speak with an advisor to see how they can do research on a translational team. We also have a partnership with Clinical Experiences, which I'll discuss a little bit later as well. And then we have Princeton Review Grad Prep. ASU students get Princeton Review Grad Prep at a discounted rate. So the self-paced, I believe it's I want to say it's about $1,200. If I'm not mistaken. The self-paced, they get it for $0. So as long as you report those MCAT scores within a year. We also have a partnership with the Princeton Review where they conduct workshops. So they have a Zoom session coming up in November. We just had one in September. If you guys want, I can share the link afterward. I can share it with Kathy, but they have these sessions where you can actually prepare for the MCAT. I brought him down to campus a couple of times as well to do an MCAT strategy session. They have flashcards, all kinds of resources that students can use to prepare for those examinations. All right, next page. All right. Opportunities for pre-health students. We have opportunities in internships, scribing, community involvement, and again, research. So these opportunities are available to students. You just want to reach out to us here in pre-health advising and ask us about those opportunities. Those opportunities are also in our communications. So here in the College of Health Solutions, we have a Canvas shell. Our online team is working on one as well, and I believe Tempe also. In that Canvas shell, we have, I typically will place important announcements in there for our students so that they can access those announcements, especially if it's something last minute. So, for instance, if there's a shadowing opportunity, I get emails about this all the time, and their deadline is next week. I'm posting it into that Canvas because I will not be able to get it into Caduceus on time because Caduceus, you have to put the information, we have to submit our announcement on Sunday to have it published in the Thursday newsletter. And then here in the College of Health Solutions, we have the Pulse newsletter as well, which will have opportunities. So we're always communicating with our students on what opportunities are out there, whether it is scribing or community involvement. And keep in mind, all of this stuff helps you become a well-rounded applicant. So when, for instance, for medical school, you get to list up to 15 different experiences on your application. Now, you don't have to list 15, but you can list up to 15. Ideally, you want to have at least 6 experiences on there, including work. If you're a waitress or a waiter, that's an experience you can list because it shows that you are able to work, to communicate with people. You're able to deal with frustrated people. You're able to work with people that you do not know and you may not see again. You work on a team, things like that. Also, we have specialized programs. So we have partnership and linkage programs with certain graduate schools. One that comes to mind right now is our 3+3 program with Creighton University. And that's for our students typically in kinesiology or clinical exercise science. And these are students who are interested in becoming PTs. They soon will add OT, occupational therapy, physical therapy. And what this program does is you basically will take courses at ASU for 3 years and prerequisites leading into that pathway program or that linkage program at Creighton University. That 4th year at ASU, you're taking courses at Creighton, and then you're transferring in those courses as a credit block so that you can graduate from ASU with their courses, and then all you have is 2 more years at Creighton to complete their program. Keep in mind, you would still need to get accepted into that program. So it's not like you can just join the linkage program and then not do so well, not interview well, and not get into the program. But what it does is it guarantees you an interview at that school. And that's just one example. We have quite a few. Yeah. So as far as, and then we also have clubs and organizations. ASU has tons of organizations. On our pre-health page, we have them listed, but then we also have them listed on our Sun Devil Sync page. And I mean, there's hundreds. I can't even remember how many clubs we have. I think it's over 200. And students are able to start clubs as well, but a lot of the well-established pre-health clubs are already, set, like our PA club or AMSA, which is our club for medical school students or students interested in going to medical school. We partner with them a lot. Next slide. All right. Another thing we have our prepare page. On our pre-health advising page that Brandon shared, that under the current students tab, you can actually select the prepare page, and there's tons of academic resources there or resources to prepare for graduate school. There's strategies on how to prepare for the MCAT and GRE or any other examination, the DAT. There's also academic records. So basically how to calculate your GPA. We have a personal statement Dropbox that opens in February and closes in January. That's where you can submit your personal statement without needing an appointment with an advisor. Also, we have additional programs. So we have information on gap year options. So like post-bac programs, master's degree options, and so on and so forth. Give me 1 second. I just noticed that the sites that are being sent are dev sites, so they're like development sites. So I'm just sending this out to Brandon real quick. All right. Okay. So academics and healthcare. So as an undergraduate student, we highly recommend you strengthen your foundational knowledge in your science courses. You want to make sure that you are performing quite well in your science courses. I know organic chemistry can be quite tricky, and I've spoken to admissions advisors about that, and they are aware of that. Doesn't mean you can get away with a D or a C in the class, but they are aware, and they typically will see a dip in performance when it comes to that particular class. But you still want to make sure that you're strengthening that foundational knowledge in all of your science classes. You want to explore new opportunities, discover your passions, like I said, with your opportunities and your shadowing and so on and so forth, because these are the opportunities and passions that are going to come up on your application. Keep in mind, when they review your application, they don't know who you are. So that is your time to shine. That is your key to get into the door. Then once you're in the door, you have to interview. So these are things that are going to come out, especially if they're natural. Reflect on your motivations and why you're pursuing a career. Ask yourself, why do you want to do medicine? Why do you want to be a PA? Why do you want to be a physical therapist? Keep reflecting on that, throughout these years, because that's going to be what your personal statement will be about as well. It's going to be the why, and you're going to need to use those experiences that you're discovering to express that why. Also, what I get a lot of is that I'll have students that are either rushing through the programs, rushing through their prerequisites, and they end up performing worse than what they would have if they would have just took some time. And I'm not saying take time to graduate in 4 years. I'm saying if you need a gap year, take the gap year. But what you do not want to do is you do not want to stack everything into the gap year. So you want to make sure your experience is consistent. Typically freshman year, you may start off a little bit slow with the experience, like volunteering. Volunteering is key as well. Or getting hours, like if you're going to PA school, you're going to need thousands of hours just to be competitive. So you can start off slow and then ramp it up as you progress through the program, especially if those courses aren't interfering with your science grades. But what you don't want to do is just stack them all at the end, because they're going to see that. And keep in mind, when you're going to grad school, you still will be taking courses before you go on your residency and so on and so forth. The application process is typically 12 to 18 months. So if you were to matriculate in 2026, so let's say you wanted to start graduate school in 2026, you would start applying in spring of 2025, especially if it's med school or PA. And the average age for starting medical school is typically 23 to 24. PA, it's 27. So if you feel like you're in a rush, you can definitely slow it down. I don't want you to be complacent, but I definitely want to reference back to that about 3 or 4 slides ago. You want to put your best foot forward. Next slide. Right. So how do you build that foundational science? We definitely recommend you take at least 15 credits or more. You want to have 2 or more sciences per semester, especially in your first 3 years up into junior year. Usually senior year, there's not enough science courses to take unless you decide to take, for instance, if you're in medical studies, you take a breadth elective course that might be a bio with another bio course, like a BCH, like a biochemistry with a bio 360 or something like that. And also remember you're tracking your major, any requirements that you need. You want, because all of those plans are going to look different. A great example is, for instance, U of A and let's say U of A and let's say AT Still, or NAU and AT Still. One school may require 2 organic chemistries, one may require 1. Or with PA school, they typically only want 1 organic chemistry, and then you can take that upper division biochem. Medical school, they want both organic chemistries and that biochem. Some schools want labs, others may not. Because professional school is typically 28 to 35 credit hours per schedule and 16 to 22 hard sciences. So again, their focus is going to be on those science courses and those clinical methods. So again, I can't stress any further. Make sure your science foundation is strong. Right? And these are some of the common prerequisites that you will see for graduate schools. So most graduate schools are looking for these prerequisites. Again, keep in mind, those PA schools, they're more than likely not going to need Chem 234, 238. So you can replace Chem 233 and 237 with Chem 231 and 235 and still be able to take biochemistry. This is something that we communicate during our appointments as well. But again, if you want to just take a look or take a picture of these common prerequisites, this is what we'll typically see for graduate schools. Another thing, we do have prerequisite charts available within those professional pathways on that pre-health webpage that Brandon shared earlier. All right. So additional tips. Keep in mind, we get questions about AP IB coursework. Most graduate schools are going to accept AP or IB coursework. One thing you want to look out for, especially when it comes to medical school, is the first year composition credit. So we get brilliant students who in high school, they ended up placing, after high school, they ended up placing into English 105 here at ASU. That only gives them 3 English credit hours. And it's amazing that they transfer into that course. But you're going to have grad schools out there that are still going to want to see 6 credit hours, even though that English 105 credit will knock out English 101 and 102 here. So typically we'll give you a recommendation on what course to substitute for that. I always recommend speak with the advisor as well, your academic advisor, because they'll know exactly what course can fit in there. Usually if you're Barrett, it's going to be Honors 171. Barrett is our honors college. Honors 171 will take care of that second English credit and you'll be good to go. Also on those prerequisite charts, we have some suggestions listed for that. Dual enrollment. Dual enrollment does count towards your application GPA. Dual enrollment counts, and so does community college credit hours. So when you're calculating your GPA for graduate school, because keep in mind, the community college is going to have one GPA, ASU is going to have another one. So when you're calculating that GPA, you can actually combine both. And we have platforms for that as well. Most schools will accept online courses for prerequisites, but you definitely want to check the school's policy on online coursework. Since the pandemic, they've been more receptive to accepting those online coursework. Most schools will take it, but again, you have to do your research and look up the schools that you're interested in attending. During general appointments, Brandon or myself or the rest of the team, we may pull up your school with you, but we can't take the whole entire appointment to search every school you're interested in, but we could use maybe a couple of schools to show you an example. Summer courses, we advise stacking science courses in the summer. I remember when I was an undergraduate advisor, I had a student, and I had him from freshman to senior. I've been here almost 10 years. And as a freshman, I told him, you need to take your sciences together. He decided to take his biology 1, biology 2 for his fall semester, spring semester, and then he took his chemistry 1 and 2 summer semester. And then he repeated that with OChem and physics the next year. He did not get accepted into graduate school because they did not see him take those 2 science courses per semester and those 15 with the minimum of 15 credit hours during those semesters. All right. Now what we typically will recommend, students they usually struggle with obtaining letters of recommendation from faculty. I highly recommend building connections with your faculty with the thought in mind in the future of getting a letter of written for you for a letter of recommendation. Faculty letters of recommendation are very hard to come by, especially if they don't know who you are, Also, when you do, as far as building those relationships, a large class is no excuse. So you have to make an effort to connect, whether they have some type of, let's say they have something where they're volunteering or they're doing community service or there's office hours, or if they have sessions. Like I just went to a panel discussion last week it was a joint panel discussion with the College of Health Solutions and the College of Nursing, and there were like 5 or 6 faculty members there in the audience where students could connect with those faculty members. So keep things like that in mind, but make sure you're being authentic. And you cannot substitute one type of letter of recommendation for another. So you can't substitute. Let's say you need 1 faculty letter and 1 letter from an MD. You cannot substitute that MD letter with 2 faculty letters or 2 MD letters with that faculty. These graduate schools want to see how you are as a student and how you can be as a professional. Also with letters of recommendation, it can be a supervisor at work as well. Some of these grad schools may want 3 to 5 letters of recommendation. I think a sweet spot would be 3, med school 5 if you can. But they definitely want to see who you are through the eyes of other people. Next slide. And I kind of jumped ahead. But again, every health profession will require you to provide these letters, and again, build those relationships. 1 semester with that instructor may not be enough. Take them twice if you can. Him or her, take them twice. And it's beyond going to class and just doing well. Again, you have to show that you're well-rounded. All right. I discussed gap year planning. So our services, unlike undergrad advising, and once you're done with undergrad advising, you're done. You're not advised by them anymore. They don't work with you unless it's something related to your DARS or graduation. Um, with us, we will work with you again until you matriculate, and that includes that gap year that I referenced. So, like if you need additional coursework or additional classes, we can take a look at excuse me, there's a database called the MSAR where that has tons of information um, related to medical schools. So in that database, there are sections in there that'll tell you how much additional coursework they're requiring from students if they decide to take post-bac classes. Some schools may say, okay, take 6 credits. Others may say take 18. It all depends on the school. They all have the same goal, but they have different ways of achieving them. Clinical experience. You can gain more clinical experience, such as becoming a medical scribe, a volunteer, an EMT. I get a lot of students that are interested in PA doing EMTs, volunteering in an emergency room. There's so much different things you can do in that area. Also, prepping for an examination. Let's say you took the MCAT, didn't do well. You can take the MCAT up to 6 times. Do I recommend it? No, but that is an option. But we help you prepare for that examination. These are hours that we recommend. These are minimums, 200 to 300 hours, 3 to 6 months from taking that exam, 10 to 15 hours per week. The GRE, a little less time. And also we discuss like reflecting on your motivation again, how to maintain healthy habits and routines. If you need to rewrite your personal statement, or if we need to re-review your application. We also do mock interviews. So I conduct MMI and mock interviews. This is the season for it. I have one next week, and I have one almost every week, at least one every week. This is what we're here to support you with. We also discuss, and this is to a lesser extent, but we want to make sure that during your gap year, you want to make sure you're managing your finances, learning how to budget, exploring non-medical hobbies to keep peace of mind as well. Right? Resources, workshops, and extracurricular involvement. So I touched on some of this stuff throughout the presentation, but as you see here, all of these logos, or most of these logos, for instance, APTA, that is, if you're interested in becoming a physical therapist, that's a website that has information on all of the schools. Same thing with that are all of the PT schools in the nation, prerequisites, preferred experiences, whether or not they prefer shadowing or shadowing or scribing and any other type of clinical experience. We also have the PAEA directory, and then mapped. I just want to show you map.com. That's how you can track. So map.com, you can track your prerequisites, you can track your experiences, so you're not loading all that information in at the last minute. It's only available, however, for MD and PA school, unfortunately. Right? We have events and workshops here at ASU, so I highly recommend visiting the Handshake page just to see what's available. You can type in, when you go to Handshake, type in pre-health. We have pre-health 101 sessions, which pretty much, this is like a blended pre-health 101 session. We have application sessions. So application nuts and bolts, they basically discuss how you can create a competitive application. So if you don't have an application review appointment with us, or before that appointment, you can see how you can write a great application or fill out an amazing application. We have personal statement workshops on how to draft a great personal statement. And then we also have Princeton Review that comes down and visits our campuses or has Zoom sessions. And we're having a Health Professions Week. That's actually on the Tempe campus. But those events are typically on Handshake. We also have a pre-health mentoring program. This program I enjoy a lot because this program is 7 weeks long. And what we do is we pair an undergraduate student with a professional student who's actually practicing in the field that you would like to go into, or a clinician who actually worked in the field that you plan on going into. 6-week program. You get 1 week off for spring break, and you basically build a relationship with a mentor, and they get to share their experience with you. They do application reviews. We have them conduct mock interviews, and some of our mentors and mentees can keep those relationships after the mentor program. Summer pre-health boot camp. Brandon and I just wrapped up the boot camp. last month. And this boot camp is amazing because we have graduate schools. We bring the graduate schools here to you. So we bring the graduate schools on campus and they discuss tips on strong applications and coursework. You have the opportunity to network with students that are already in graduate school. We had a Stop the Bleed workshop where students learned how to suture and how to pack wounds just in case someone's bleeding out. We had a suture workshop, actually. We had a suture workshop and a Stop the Bleed. So the Stop the Bleed, students earned a certificate on how to stop people from bleeding, how to make tourniquets, and then they were able to network with U of A students currently studying. And I think they truly enjoyed that session the most. We had MCAT trivia. We had a chiropractor come and visit. They brought out the table and they demonstrated on our presenter study strategies, graduate support. So we want to make sure that we have tons of resources available for our students, even when school is not in session. And this boot camp is typically every summer. We're thinking about changing the date though. Right. Pre-health internship program. This program is designed for students that are interested in the health professions, and it helps you guys obtain a clinical internship and get that clinical experience, because sometimes it's hard. Clinical experience is very hard to get, especially if you're an undergraduate student who is not connected with maybe a doctor or a dentist or so on and so forth. Helps with resume building, networking opportunities, and it also helps you with your application because that's another experience that you can add on that application. And we have a video here if you want to play that.
The Pre-Health Internship Program is a program that was designed to assist students in finding clinical internships. Pre-Health Internship Program helps identify for them clinical internships that will not only better position them to get into postgraduate school, but provide them with some of the clinical skills that they're going to need to perform better once they do get into a postgraduate program.
The Pre-Health Internship Program have partnerships with major health systems and private practices. They strive to provide excellent clinical experiences for students that will assist them in achieving their career goals.
What's great about the younger students is that you find out about why they're going into medicine. The students are really go-getters and they really take into heart what we're doing every day.
Some key skills I think I've developed are definitely communication skills, talking to all of the patients and all of the medical professionals. And then I think some critical thinking skills as well. When I look at the procedures he's doing, in the beginning I wasn't sure what was going on, but now I'm starting to see it more from a doctor's perspective, and I can see 1 or 2 steps ahead based on what I've seen in previous procedures.
To see Dr. Heuser collaborate with his cath lab team as well as his office, something that you don't really get to read in the books, so to see it play out is great. I get to see the stents, catheters, and medical devices that are used within the cath lab, but knowing that I'm working alongside somebody that's either created them or heavily contributed to their creation is something special.
In my internship experience here, I got a chance to kind of see the way people put leads on patients and the way the monitors work and kind of the flow of what happens to a patient from when they first check in until they're sent home. So when I got to medical school, I felt like I really had a better grasp on what was happening, the real life application. So knowing how important that was to me, I feel like having this chance to now do the same thing for future students is really fulfilling, and it makes me happy.
Sometimes students don't really appreciate the value and the importance of the patient-provider relationship, the need for empathy, the ability to educate patients, the need to listen to patients, and that relationship between the provider and the patient is so important. That's the kind of experience you can only get by being in that experience. It's only going to benefit them in the long run and give them a more realistic view of what it really is like to work in the field of dentistry or pharmacy or medicine.
Right. So yeah, that's our pre-health.
The pre-health internship.
Yep, that's our pre-health internship program. So last but not least, I just wanted to go over some pre-appointment information. So basically, steps to prepare for an appointment with us pre-health advisors. We want to make sure you become familiar with the resources that we have available so that when you do come in for your appointment, you kind of know what area you want to tackle or what you would like to discuss with us. We definitely recommend requesting an appointment with your assigned pre-health advisor. We highly recommend not we highly recommend not booking an appointment with an advisor that's not your assigned advisor. So Brandon and I typically handle College of Health Solutions students because we're very well aware of the undergraduate program. We're familiar with the advisors, the prerequisites that are already built in some of our undergrad programs as well. So the experience is going to be, you're going to get a better experience if you book with your assigned advisor. Make sure you come prepared with questions and concerns about your timeline and pathway. If you don't, typically when I have an appointment with a student and it's their very first appointment and they do not know what to ask, I just go for it. I'll go on the website, show them all the resources we have available, and then I'll give them a little homework so they can come back to me with questions when they're prepared and they're ready to discuss those questions that they have. So never shy away if you don't have questions. We'll set up a plan for you so the next time you meet with us, you're prepared and you have those questions and they're answered for you. We definitely recommend setting goals for your semester. Any short-term or long-term goals you can achieve by mid-semester. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And this is the last page. I'll just have you guys take a picture of that. I'm not going to go through it in detail, but basically this is charting a path to your goals. So these are questions you may want to consider. So if you can't think of any questions for your pre-health appointment, these are some questions you may want to consider. And that's us. So the QR code leads to our webpage, but I believe it's been shared in the chat. But again, if you want to use that QR, feel free to. Our email address, that's the general pre-health email address. If you are a downtown student, we'll have Brandon put our downtown email address. It's prehealthdpc@asu.edu. You can place that into the chat as well.
Thank you, Brian. I hope everybody has time to stay on for the Q&A. But first, you're going to hear a little bit about my path to ASU, as we always do in these College Connections webinars. Also, we know that there's some questions in the chat that still probably need to be addressed. So Brandon and Ryan, maybe if you can start at the top and scroll down. I know the first one, Janine was asking about Midwestern, as well as the partnership that you described with Creighton. So keep those questions coming in the chat and we'll get to Q&A in just a sec. But I wanted to share the benefits of my path to ASU with you in case you're not familiar with it already. It's ASU's transfer tool powered by a 1.5 million course equivalencies in our database. So students can save time and money overall in their education, first of all, because they're with you at the community colleges and they're maximizing that transfer credit before they come over to ASU. They follow a course by course, term by term pathway that keeps them on track and makes sure that their courses are applicable to their program at ASU. And that's the bachelor's program. So while they're doing that, then they can use all of these wonderful pre-health resources as well, along with their associate degree resources, of course. When they're signed up for My Path to ASU, they receive personalized communications from us, knowing about what stage they are at in their process, because if they just have signed up for My Path to ASU and they're indicating when they sign up, they indicate when they plan to transfer. So we know if they still have a little while with you guys, just to say, hi, we're glad you signed up for My Path to ASU. Here's some things you can do to prepare to transfer when it's time for you to transfer, or here's some resources you can use now. And then as it gets to be about a year before they say they plan to transfer, then they get some application information so that they know that they can apply to ASU at that point and who to ask for help with that. They also receive access to ASU's transfer coordinators, of course, who you know very well from going to your campuses. And they get other pre-enrollment services and invitations to online and in-person events at ASU. And with My Path to ASU, they know that a place is waiting for them in their major of choice, as long as they meet all of those pathway requirements laid out. So not just the courses, but any additional admissions requirements, which are also on the pathway. So it's a nice centralized resource to use along with their associate degree resources from you. And so these are the sign-up steps for students from the Maricopa Community Colleges, and then I'll follow with all of our other Arizona partners and out-of-state partners steps. So for Maricopa, there's a special webpage, which I'm sure you're very familiar with, at that big long URL there on the right. And like I said, I'm going to send you this slide deck so you can access all the links and the recording as well to share with colleagues. And so on it, you'll see two buttons on this page. And the button on the right is for My Path to ASU majors. As you can see, it shows you where it shows you what the pathways look like, and you can easily look up requirements and compare pathways. So as a professional helping students, you don't need to sign up for an account just to be able to access the information. The button on the left is where you would show your students that they can sign up for the pathway. They can also do it straight from each individual pathway because there's a sign up button on there as well. And so that sign up is right there. And once they do that and they indicate that they're going to a Maricopa Community College, it takes them to the Maricopa website, student information system rather, and it asks them to sign in with their MEID and password. So signing up for My Path to ASU is essentially the same thing as choosing or changing your academic plan in your Maricopa Student Center. So after students sign in, they will open their academic plan in their student center, Maricopa Student Center, click on Change Plan / Subplan in the left-hand menu, and then they will click on Add Change ASU Pathway. They'll select the starting term for the pathway and indicate if their ASU program will be in person or online. And then they will be prompted to click OK to confirm their new plan, authorize ASU and their community college to share their academic records under FERPA, of course, and acknowledge their request to sign up for My Path to ASU. And that is how they sign up in Maricopa. For all other partners, Arizona and outside of, Arizona outside of Maricopa County and nationwide, students will go to mypath2asu.asu.edu and click on sign up. And then instead of just signing in, if they don't already have an ASU account, like if they've never attended ASU before or been admitted to ASU before, then they would click on sign up again. Otherwise, they would sign in with their ASU Right ID. They indicate where they're going to school. So this student is going to community college at Yavapai College in Prescott. And they indicate what major they would like to study, and that's a drop down. So they don't have to know exactly the perfect name of the major, and all those fields narrow down based on their major choice. And they indicate when they plan to transfer. They tell us who they are, and they set up a password so they can access what's called My Transfer Guide, which will help keep them on track all along the way. And they can sign in to see that anytime they go to mypath2asu.asu.edu. That will recognize that they've already signed up, and they can sign in to see, to track their progress. And here's a close-up of what that transfer guide looks like. The course search tab can come in really handy if they've gone anywhere other than your institution, or if they have military credit, or they can put that in there and see how that would transfer and possibly apply to their major. My Path to ASU is what we're looking at right now, so that's that tab. Exam search shows them if they would get credit for whatever score they got on standardized tests like AP and IB. And student resources is a little bit of a catch-all potpourri type of tab with a little bit of everything. And so now we are going to open it up for questions. And so I'm going to have Ryan and Brandon take the lead here and try to answer some of the ones that were in the chat. I'm also going to go through and unmute everybody, or at least click that allow to talk. So while they're doing that, then I will see if I can get everybody situated. So I'll turn it back to them.
All right. And it looks like the chat, looks like Dean and Brandon have been in there. Janine, I'd answered your question in regards to the linkage programs with Midwestern as well. That I went to the page, it appears the link is broken. So if you can shoot me an email, I'll put my email address in the chat for you. Shoot me an email and I'll see if I can find that with your with your email address information, and I'll see if I can send that info directly to you, and share with Kathy just in case anyone else is interested. All right, so there's my email address. And does anyone have questions? All right, Michelle, yes.
Here we go.
All right.
Sorry. So I work mainly at the ASU West campus with Miss Brong, and she's awesome, by the way. But I just wanted to ask about one of our main programs here is psychology. We have both online and in-person students. Now, can you do psychology students generally connect with your program? And if so, are online students also eligible for your program?
Good question. Which program are you just saying, like pre-health advising in general?
Yeah, like our psychology students, can you like particularly like maybe with the internship programs and things like that, I would see how that would be helpful for some of those students moving towards state licensure because we tend to get questions about that. I actually work their front desk about that, like when people are starting to apply, particularly, what is your pathway towards state licensure? And I know it adds an extra layer when we're working with students that are out of state because, you know, different states have different requirements, particularly for psychology licensure.
Yeah, we don't work directly with psychology. So we pretty much advise any students that are interested in going into health professions. So if let's say the psychology major wanted to go to medical school or PA or PT, then that would be our territory.
But so you don't work with like clinical counselors or anything of that nature.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Asha.
Hello, I'm Aisha.
Aisha.
I'm sorry, I joined the meeting a little late, so I may sound like, or maybe you answered the question, I'm not sure, or maybe I'm not in the right meeting, but I'm a first gen medical student, and I applied for ASU for my medical studies.
Mhm.
And upon like reading that, it's a little confusing because you guys, well, ASU refers it as a program, but then also they refer it as a bachelor's degree as well, I believe. So
Mhm.
that part's a little confusing on that aspect, but I have not spoken to an advisor and I guess I'm like very behind on this whole process because I literally start in fall of next year. So there's just a lot on my plate right now with school and stuff. I'm like really lost on like the whole process. I guess my question I'm kind of asking
Mhm.
is um it's kind of hard to try to get your foot in the door with being like not knowing anybody, especially in the medical field, and trying to get like clinical hours and stuff like that. And I kind of wanted to try to go the route of being traditional, where I just go straight out of the college straight to a university. But I don't think it would be realistic because I'm going to be a junior when I attend. So how can I try to get clinical hours? Is there a way, is that possible to try to get like clinical hours during that period? I'm sorry, my question's like all over the place.
No, it's completely fine. It's completely fine. When it comes to clinical hours, you would, I personally recommend, do you have a doctor or a dentist or someone that you can reach out to? You plan on going to medical school, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So I would say if you need those clinical hours, there's typically shadowing opportunities that are available to students from time to time. There's also, you can reach out to an MD or someone in a doctor's office or a physician's office to see if they're looking for someone to volunteer, intern, shadow, any of the above. What I also recommend, you're transferring into ASU, correct?
Yeah, because doesn't ASU have like a school that they're affiliated with, like through a hospital? Like kind of like how Banners with U of A isn't ASU with another.
We're affiliated with a lot. We have a clinical internship program, and there's tons of sites that we're affiliated with. So there are tons of options for you, and that was the internship that I discussed. So for instance, we have as far as let me show you this real quick, and I'll put this into the chat. There's just tons of sites that we're affiliated with. This is our pre-health internship directory. Now, are you looking for placement through ASU for the internship?
Yeah, from my understandings with the medical studies, when I was looking at the requirements, it said something about like a internship. So I'm trying to look to see so I can give you the exact internship, but my understanding is that internship could be used towards medical school when you're applying for clinical, or it's all confusing. I'm so sorry. Like I'm literally like very incompetent when it comes to this. So like I feel like I know what I'm talking about, and then I feel like when I'm saying it, it sounds stupid. So I really don't know what I'm trying to ask, but yeah, I'm sorry.
Aisha, you know what? You're in the right. Sorry to interrupt, Brian, but I just have to say she's in the right place because she's in a room full of people who totally understand when students are like, whoa, I have so much I want to know and need help with. And Dean sent you a message in the chat, Aisha, that he's going to email you and connect you with somebody at ASU too, so that, or with multiple people, I'm not sure, so that you can get more comprehensive help.
Yeah, I agree. That's what we're here for. We've heard these questions before. If you want to reach out to me, my email's in the chat as well. Reach out to me directly. We'll set something up, okay? And I'll definitely talk to you about this. I'll share my screen and everything.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, it's Janine.
Hi, so I'm Janine, and I'm an academic advisor at Estrella Mountain Community College, and I work with a lot of our STEM students who are interested in these pre-professional pathways. So my question is, if a student has signed up for the My Path to ASU, are we able to refer them to you as pre-health advising, or do they have to wait until they are like ready to transfer?
Yes, they have to wait until they're ready to transfer in order to get our pre-health services here at ASU. However, the minute they complete their sophomore year, they can come in. They don't have to wait until August. If they need their advising in May or June, we're completely fine with that. Keep in mind, June is our busiest month, though. We have a youth program that we run here in June. So try to get in by May or early July.
And just to add to that too, our student recruitment team in the College of Health Solutions, so I work in the recruitment world, we don't have the pre-health advising expertise at the level that Ryan and Brandon have, but we have, a degree of it, and we can always help in that in-between stage.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
And Ryan, I know you mentioned there's a couple resources. Well, there's a lot of information on the website, obviously, but there's also some webinars or programs that students can watch that are open to students who have not started yet, who have not been admitted yet.
Correct.
While others are only for students who have been admitted.
Yeah, like we have our Princeton review. He's always looking for attendance. So if this is something that, you all are interested in, feel free to email me and I can start sharing those sessions. I'll speak with him as well, just to see how he would like to incorporate, students that have not been enrolled here at ASU. But he's an independent party. He's affiliated with us, but he's not ASU. So that's an opportunity. Another one is, again, the boot camp. I would like to open it up to more community college students that are transitioning into ASU. So this summer, let's say you're starting ASU in August of 2025, and you would like to, attend our boot camp in July. That's another option we would like to open to you, because we go over a lot of this information and we bring admissions advisors in to speak with the students directly. So you guys realize that they're human just like you. So there's nothing to be afraid of. You get to interact with them and actually, speak with them regarding their expertise.
We have one more question coming through. Actually, wait, maybe not a question. Was that Dean
That's Dean.
Providing support from the recruitment team as well? And
I just want to say a quick plug to Sun Devil Days are also going to be great opportunities for you as well to connect with us. So like Ryan and myself usually do a pre-health presentation on some of those days. And so that's can also be a great way for you to connect with us as well. And it also allows you to get more acclimated with like some of the different programs, get acclimated to the campus. So that way you can feel more connected when you actually do step foot on the downtown campus. But that's going to be also a great opportunity for you to really connect with Ryan and myself as well. Also, I'm Brandon. You can't see me, but I'm the other pre-health guy.
yes, thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Dean. And anybody I might have missed from pre-health advising in the College of Health Solutions. We're at time, and we know you guys probably have a student waiting for you or somewhere else to go or lunch or who knows what, but we appreciate your time. I'm putting my email in the chat as well. Like I said, I'll follow up with an email to all of you. So please reach back out because we know there's a lot of information to take in here. We hope to see you next month at the next College Connections from College of Global Futures. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again.
Thank you.